think of a typical entrepreneurial team, for example, a team that might be a new venture developing a software application. On that team, you might have someone who's a software engineer, someone who is a designer, you might have some business, some marketing folks on that team, and you might have some project management folks on that team. And for that team to really make the most of all of those different pieces of knowledge, people have to yield to and defer to one another. And so what kind of inspired this project is that process of combining. People talk a lot about the need to combine knowledge and information, but we don't really know as much about the interpersonal processes that allow that knowledge to come out in groups. To understand what these patterns of deference are, above and beyond the formal organizational structure, we ask people, who do you defer to in this group? How much do you defer to each of these other individuals in your group? And then it generates a lot of data. If you imagine 15 people, each person who's rating 14 other people, you get a lot of really rich information that kind of allows you to map out this network of deference in these groups. So one of the big findings that we have is that if a group tends to defer, so if people in a group tend to defer to others based on competence, expectations about competence, the group performs at a higher level. And so we looked at patenting behavior, publication behavior of these groups, and if people tend to defer to others because they expect them to contribute to the group, that group tends to generate more knowledge. In contrast, if the members of a group tend to defer to one another because of feelings of affinity, friendship that they have with one another, that group actually performs less effectively. They generate less knowledge, they publish less, they patent less. And so the reasons why we defer to one another in groups are really important for generating and producing knowledge. The things that predict deference based on friendship or affinity are demographic characteristics. So we find gender and we find race are two powerful predictors of affinity that lead to deference, and this tends to be suboptimal. And so we need to consciously avoid making decisions about who to defer to based on what are often completely irrelevant demographic characteristics, and instead really make an effort to ground our decisions in someone's expertise for the problem at hand. As a leader, the important thing in leading a group is to try to close the information gap and make sure that people know where one another's expertise lies.